Lesson 10.3, odds in favor, odds against, and example number 3. Odds measure the likelihood that an event will occur. Odds in favor of or odds against an event are when all outcomes are equally likely. The odds in favor of an event A and the odds against an event A are defined as follows. Odds in favor of event A equal the number of outcomes in A over the number of outcomes not in A. Odds against would be the reciprocal of that. The number of outcomes not in A over the number of outcomes in A. So sometimes when I think about this, odds in favor would be the number of ways you can do event A over the number of ways you can't. So instead of probability, where it's the number of ways you can over the total number, we're now looking at the number of ways you can over the number of ways you can't. Odds against are just the the reciprocal. So the number of outcomes not in A, meaning the number of ways you can't do it over the number of ways you can do it. So let's look at an example. Example 3, a card is drawn from a standard deck of 52 cards. First, we are going to find the odds in favor of drawing a 10. So we're going to do odds in favor. Odds in favor of drawing a 10, which means the number of ways we can draw a 10 over the ways you can't draw a 10. Okay, so let's think about that. In a standard deck of 52 cards, how many 10s are there? There are 4 10s, which means there are 4 different ways that I could draw a 10. The number of ways I can't draw a 10, or the number of ways I would draw something other than a 10, would be 48. There are 48 cards that are not 10s in a standard deck of 52 cards. In other words, my odds in favor are 1 over 12, but most of the time odds are written as a ratio. My odds in favor are 1 to 12. Okay, I'm going to look at now the odds against drawing a club. Okay, odds against drawing a club. So that would be the number of ways I can't over the number of ways I can. So how many ways can I draw something that is not a club? Well, if there are 4 suits in a standard deck of 52 cards, that means there are 13 in each suit. So the number of ways I can draw something that's not a club, or I can't draw a club, would be 39. 52 minus 13. And the number of ways I can draw a club would be the 13 cards that are clubs, which is 3, or if we write it in a ratio, it's a 3 to 1 odds against.